you have any of these 15 trucks sitting in your garage and didn't know it, you're sitting on a gold mine without even realizing it. But if you already sold it, you're going to want to pull your hair out when you see this video. These rolling legends are disappearing from the planet faster than you can imagine, while collectors quietly hoard them away. In just a few years, finding one in good condition will be almost impossible. The one in the #1 spot was a commercial failure that has now become the most sought-after truck among experts. And the one in 5th place is currently worth 5 times what it cost brand new. Whether you're a collector or simply a truck enthusiast, this video will completely change the way you see the market and what's truly worth holding on to before it's too late. 15. Toyota Tacoma, 2005, the end of a golden era. The 2005 Toyota Tacoma is not just another truck in the long line of models from the Japanese brand. It is, in fact, the closing of a glorious chapter in Toyota's history, a turning point that marked the end of a design philosophy that had made the Tacoma synonymous with toughness and reliability. Up until that year, Toyota had maintained a production philosophy focused on extreme durability, with engines and chassis built to withstand decades of heavy use. The 2005 Tacoma was the last to inherit that uncompromising tradition. With its 4.0-liter V6 engine, it delivered solid, dependable power, and the option of a 6-speed manual transmission made it one of the few modern pickups that still allowed drivers to feel direct mechanical control, something enthusiasts value enormously. The chassis of this generation was built with the idea of lasting for generations. It wasn't a vehicle designed for short warranty cycles or quick replacement. It was a machine conceived to stay with its owner for decades. That robustness didn't come at the expense of efficiency. The 2005 Tacoma could haul up to a full ton without breaking a sweat, and its 4-wheel drive system earned a legendary reputation among off-road fans, who consider it one of the best platforms ever made for extreme adventures. What makes it even more special is its relative rarity. Toyota produced fewer units of the 2005 Tacoma compared to other years, which has turned this model into a scarce commodity. Today, collectors and enthusiasts know exactly what they're holding, and they're snapping up the few surviving units in good condition. The result is that, in less than 5 years, finding an original 2005 Tacoma, unmodified and in optimal condition, will be practically impossible. And when one does appear, its price will be far higher than anyone could have imagined at the time of its release. Before we continue, let me tell you this. This is the channel car dealerships don't want you to watch, because here we show things exactly as they are. No filters, no sugarcoating. Subscribe and leave a like if you don't want to be sold smoke and mirrors, and make sure your next car isn't a cleverly disguised disappointment. 14. Nissan Frontier 2000, the starting point of modern pickups. The 2000 Nissan Frontier holds a key place in the evolution of compact pickups. It was the model that set standards other brands tried and failed to copy, and it marked the beginning of a new era in which compact no longer meant weak, but practical, efficient, and surprisingly durable. Its 2.4-liter 4-cylinder engine may look modest on paper, especially compared to the V6 and V8s of the competition. However, its durability is legendary. Owners around the world report surpassing 300,000 kilometers without a single major engine repair. That longevity was no accident. Japanese engineering of that era had a different philosophy. Every component was designed to work in harmony with the rest, with precise tolerances and high-quality materials that guaranteed decades of reliable service. The 5-speed manual transmission was another of its strong points. Even after 200,000 kilometers, many owners claim it still shifts like new, with smooth and precise gear changes. That mechanical reliability is one of the reasons the 2000 Frontier became such a benchmark. But perhaps the most attractive feature of this model was its size. It was large enough to handle serious work, with respectable payload and towing capacity, yet compact enough to move nimbly through city streets. That combination of practicality and toughness is something that has practically disappeared in modern pickups, which tend to grow larger and more complex. Today, the savviest collectors are already buying up every well-preserved unit they can find. And it's no coincidence. They know the 2000 Frontier is the true missing link between classic and modern pickups. A model that represents the best of both worlds in that, over time, will become a highly sought-after collectible. 13. Mazda B Series, 1998, the underestimated gem. The 1998 Mazda B Series is, without a doubt, one of the most underestimated pickups on this entire list. While the market's attention was focused on giants like Toyota and Nissan, Mazda quietly worked to create a truck that combined the best of American and Japanese engineering. Based on the Ford Ranger platform, the B Series inherited the ruggedness and practicality of its American counterpart. But Mazda didn't just copy it, they added their own touch of Japanese precision, refining design, assembly, and durability details that turned it into a surprisingly well-balanced machine. Its 2.5-liter engine offered the perfect balance between fuel economy and load capacity. It consumed just 8 liters per 100 kilometers, an excellent figure for the time, while still being able to tow up to 2,000 kilos without issue. That duality made it ideal both for work and for personal use. Another of its strong points was the bodywork. Mazda applied anti-corrosion treatments that exceeded the standards of the era, which explains why many units still survive in excellent condition even after more than 25 years. While other trucks of its generation show obvious signs of wear, the B Series continues to impress with its structural resilience. The big problem was limited production. Mazda never manufactured the B Series in large volumes for the American market, which made it a rarity from the very beginning. That scarcity, combined with its durability, has transformed it into a highly sought-after piece for collectors and enthusiasts who know that behind its discreet appearance lies a true gem. Today, the 1998 B Series is seen as a symbol of what could have been, a pickup that, had it been given more exposure, might have stood shoulder to shoulder with the legends of the segment. Instead, it became a hidden treasure, reserved for those who know how to look beyond the most popular brands. 12. Isuzu Pickup, 1988, the best-kept secret of the 80s. Have you ever heard of the 1988 Isuzu Pickup? If not, don't blame yourself. Isuzu never invested in marketing the way Toyota or Nissan did, and that's why it went almost unnoticed. But those who knew it understand that it was one of the most indestructible trucks ever built. It came with a 2.3-liter diesel engine that could literally run forever. That's not an exaggeration. There are documented reports of units surpassing 500,000 kilometers ridden, still working as if they were brand new. What made it unique was its almost military-grade construction. It was originally designed for extreme commercial use, and every component was over-engineered. Its chassis could withstand loads that would destroy many modern pickups. The problem is that most of these trucks ended up in commercial fleets, where they worked until they died. The few that survive today are in the hands of people who know their true value, and they are very unlikely to sell them. 11. Mitsubishi Raider, 2006. The silent perfection nobody noticed. The 2006 Mitsubishi Raider is one of those cases where automotive history seems to play with irony. When Mitsubishi decided to launch this pickup, the market expected a bold statement, a product that would break molds and instantly become a benchmark. What they got instead was something different, a truck that didn't make noise, didn't seek the spotlight, but was built with a level of quality and balance that today makes it a hidden gem. The Raider used the Dodge Dakota platform, a proven and robust chassis, but with Japanese engineering applied to every detail. That mix of American DNA and Japanese precision resulted in a truck that combined the best of both worlds. Its 3.7-liter V6 engine delivered just the right amount of power for any task. Never excessive, but smooth and dependable in a way that surprised those who drove it. It wasn't a wild beast, but rather a machine designed to last and to do everything well, without showing off. It could tow up to 3,000 kiloliters with ease, outperforming larger and more expensive competitors. Its suspension was tuned with admirable balance, firm enough to handle heavy loads, yet comfortable enough for long trips. Many owners recall that the Raider was a truck that didn't wear you out. You could drive it for hours without the physical fatigue that other pickups of the era often caused. The big problem was timing. Mitsubishi was not at its best in the North American market, The brand was losing presence and consumer trust, and the Raider arrived at a moment when few were willing to take a chance on it. On top of that, competition was fierce. The Toyota Tacoma dominated the midsize segment, and the Nissan Frontier had a loyal following. The Raider ended up in no man's land, ignored by most buyers. The irony is that Mitsubishi discontinued the line just when it had reached technical perfection. It was only produced for 4 years, and most owners had no idea they were holding a hidden treasure. Today, the sharpest collectors are buying every unit they can find because they know that in just a few years, it will be nearly impossible to get one in good condition. The Raider is a reminder that the loudest or most heavily marketed product doesn't always win. Sometimes the true gems slip quietly under the radar, waiting for time to give them the recognition they deserve. 10. Chevrolet S10, 1995, the soul of the 90s. The 1995 Chevrolet S10 is, for many, the truck that best represents the spirit of the 1990s. It wasn't the biggest, the most powerful, or the most luxurious, but it had something that seems lost today: balance. 1995 was a key year for the S10. Chevrolet had already solved the issues of the early generations, but it hadn't yet fallen into the temptation of cutting costs as it would in later years. That makes this version the sweet spot of production, mature enough to be reliable, but still built with the durability philosophy that defined the brand. Its 4.3-liter Vortec engine is legendary. Capable of running more than 300,000 km/h without ever needing to be opened, it became synonymous with reliability. The 5-speed manual transmission was equally robust, with a mechanical feel that conveyed solidity with every shift. What made the S10 special was its versatility. It could be a work truck, hauling heavy materials without complaint. It could be a family vehicle, comfortable enough for daily use. And it could also be the perfect companion for weekend getaways, with enough off-road capability to tackle rough trails. That combination of qualities is almost impossible to find in modern pickups, which seem forced to choose between luxury or utility. The design of the S10 also reflects its era. Straight lines, balanced proportions, no unnecessary frills. It was an honest truck that didn't pretend to be anything more than what it was. And perhaps that's why it's so attractive today. It represents a time when vehicles were built to last, not just to impress in the showroom. Collectors already know this. A 1995 S10 in original condition is now a time capsule, a piece of the 90s that refuses to disappear. And with each passing year, its value rises, because well-preserved units are becoming increasingly rare. 9. Ford Ranger, 1993, the pickup that defined a generation. The 1993 Ford Ranger is a truck that left its mark on an entire generation. At a time when compact pickups were gaining popularity, Ford managed to find the perfect formula. Its 2.3-liter four-cylinder engine delivered 115 horsepower, more than enough for daily work and long shifts without complaint. But what really set it apart was its construction. The chassis was built with thicker gauge steel, the welds were denser, and the anti-corrosion treatment far surpassed what we see in modern versions. That solidity translated directly into longevity. It's not unusual to find 93 Rangers with more than 400,000 kilometers still running perfectly. And we're not talking about garage queens. These were trucks that worked hard for decades. The most sought-after configuration was the regular cab with a 5-speed manual transmission. That setup was ideal for heavy work, with a towing capacity of 800 km/h that outperformed many larger trucks of the era. The design also worked in its favor. Compact, functional, with no unnecessary frills. It was a truck that inspired confidence, as if it were saying, "You can count on me for anything." That's a quality collectors value enormously. Today, well-preserved 1993 Rangers are increasingly hard to find. Many were modified, and others simply wore out after a lifetime of service. The few that survive in original condition are now collectible pieces that represent the very best of 1990s American engineering. 8. Dodge Dakota, 1997, the unexpected muscle truck. The 1997 Dodge Dakota was a truck that broke the mold and in many ways invented a new concept: the muscle truck. Up until then, mid-size pickups were designed to be practical, economical, and functional. Dodge decided to change the rules by dropping its legendary 5.2-liter V8 into a midsize chassis. The result was a machine with 230 horsepower, capable of accelerating from 0 to 100 km/h in under 8 seconds. For the time, those numbers were astonishing. The Dakota could embarrass many sports cars off the line while still towing 2,700 kN with ease. Its distinctive growl became part of the soundtrack of the 1990s, a reminder that Dodge has always had a rebellious spirit. The design reflected that personality too. Aggressive lines, muscular proportions, and a presence that demanded respect. This was not a discreet truck. It was a statement. Production was limited since Dodge focused on higher volume models. That means the few 97 Dakotas that survive in original condition are now highly coveted collectibles. The 1997 Dakota is a perfect example of how a brand can change the game with a single bold decision. And although it didn't get the recognition it deserved at the time, today it's seen as a pioneer, the truck that opened the door to an entirely new category of vehicles. 7. Toyota Hilux, 1985, the indestructible that conquered the world. Talking about the 1985 Toyota Hilux is talking about a truck that transcends the automotive world to become a cultural myth. This is no exaggeration. This pickup earned a reputation for being practically immortal. In many corners of the globe, from African deserts to Latin American jungles, the 85 Hilux became synonymous with absolute trust. Its 2.4-liter diesel engine was a marvel of simplicity and toughness. It didn't need excessive care or sophisticated maintenance. With the basics, it could run for decades. Farmers, soldiers, explorers, and even humanitarian organizations adopted it because they knew they could rely on it in the harshest environments on Earth. The construction of this generation was almost artisanal in the best sense of the word. Every weld, every part, every component was designed to last for generations. The independent rear suspension and locking differential made it an unstoppable off-road machine. Shows like Top Gear put it through absurd tests, fires, explosions, even crashing it into buildings. And yet the Hilux kept starting. That televised demonstration only reinforced what millions of users already knew. This truck was indestructible. Today, a 1985 Hilux in good condition is a treasure. In many countries, its value on the used market surpasses that of much newer models. And it's not just nostalgia. It's because it represents a design philosophy that no longer exists, a time when vehicles were built to last a lifetime. 6. Nissan Hardbody, 1990. The tough body that defined a decade. The nickname says it all, Hardbody. The 1990 Nissan Hardbody wasn't just a truck, it was a symbol of resilience. Its KA24E 2.4-liter engine was engineered with such precise tolerances that it could keep running flawlessly even after 400,000 km. The 5-speed manual transmission was just as tough, with synchronizers that kept shifts smooth decades later. The angular, functional design was no accident. Every line had a purpose: to maximize structural strength while minimizing weight. Its ladder frame chassis could handle loads that would collapse many larger modern pickups. What's curious is that, beyond being a work truck, the hardbody was embraced by drift and customization enthusiasts. Its perfect balance and weight distribution made it ideal for performance modifications. But that popularity also accelerated its extinction. Many were destroyed on tracks or altered beyond recognition. Today, finding a 1990 hardbody in original condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. And that's precisely why its value climbs higher every year. It represents the very best of late 20th century Japanese engineering: simple, tough, and eternal. Before revealing the top 5, here's a quick reminder. To stay informed about what dealerships might be hiding and to truly understand what you're buying, subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. We're dedicated to uncovering the secrets they'd rather you never discover. 5. GMC Sonoma, 1994. The last pure expression of American design. The 1994 GMC Sonoma is, for many, the last American pickup built with an uncompromising philosophy of durability before regulations and commercial compromises changed everything. Its 4.3-liter Vortec engine was a masterpiece of simplicity and efficiency. No unnecessary sensors, no excessive electronics, just cast iron, steel, and mechanical precision working in harmony. That simplicity made it practically indestructible and easy to repair in any workshop. The independent front suspension was revolutionary for its time, offering car-like comfort without sacrificing load capacity. It could carry up to a full ton without compromising stability or urban handling. The interior was Spartan but functional. Every control had a purpose. Nothing was decorative. That less is more philosophy has been lost over time, and that's why the Sonoma is so highly valued today. It represents an era when trucks were built to last, not to impress in showrooms. General Motors discontinued the line to focus on more profitable SUVs, permanently eliminating that perfect combination of practicality, durability, and affordability. Today, a well-preserved '94 Sonoma is a reminder of what American design once stood for: vehicles built to endure, not to show off. 4. Ford F-150 Lightning, 1999, the muscle truck that humiliated sports cars. The 1999 Ford F-150 Lightning wasn't just a sporty truck, it was a manifesto of what American car culture meant at the end of the 20th century. At a time when muscle cars seemed to have lost some of their shine, Ford took an unexpected path, transforming a work pickup into a predator of the asphalt. The result was the second generation of the Lightning, a truck that combined the practicality of an F-150 with the heart of a muscle car. Under the hood roared a supercharged 5.4-liter V8, capable of producing 380 horsepower and 450 lb-ft of torque. Today, those numbers may sound normal, but in 1999, they were absolutely wild, especially for a vehicle that, in theory, was supposed to haul tools and building materials. The Lightning could sprint from 0 to 100 km/h in just 5.2 seconds. To put that in perspective, it was faster than many Corvettes of the time and could embarrass European sports cars that cost twice as much. Its sport-tuned suspension, Brembo brakes, and limited slip differential turned it into a track machine disguised as a utility truck. What's most fascinating is the irony behind its creation. Ford never intended to build a cultural icon. It was meant as a niche experiment. Production was limited, with only about 28,000 units built in its entire run. That means every surviving Lightning today is essentially a rolling museum piece. The problem is that many of these trucks were bought by enthusiasts who didn't hesitate to modify them, abuse them, or outright destroy them in street races. Finding an original, unaltered Lightning is increasingly difficult, and that's why its value skyrockets year after year. The 1999 Lightning represents both the best and worst of American car culture. Excess, raw power, irreverence, but also passion, innovation, and the ability to create vehicles that become legends. 3. Chevrolet Colorado, 2004, the midsize that should never have disappeared. The 2004 Chevrolet Colorado is one of those trucks that, over time, turned into a big what if. General Motors launched it in response to the growing interest in midsize pickups, and it did so with a proposal that combined American versatility with intelligent efficiency. Its 3.5-liter inline-5 engine was a rarity in the market, but also a marvel of engineering. It produced 220 horsepower with fuel consumption that put full-size pickups to shame. It was the perfect answer for those who needed enough power without sacrificing economy. What's most impressive was its load and towing capacity. It could carry up to 1,600 cubic and tow 2,700 kilograms, figures that today seem impossible for a midsize pickup. Its hydroform chassis gave it exceptional rigidity, and its cabin was spacious and comfortable, ideal for both work and daily use. The big mistake General Motors made was failing to promote it properly. The Colorado had everything it needed to be a success, but the lack of marketing and the fierce competition from the Toyota Tacoma and Nissan Frontier pushed it into the background. Production remained limited, and eventually GM decided to discontinue it. Today, that decision seems absurd. Collectors and enthusiasts know that the 2004 Colorado was ahead of its time. It represented a balance the current market is still searching for: power, efficiency, and practicality. The few units that survive in good condition are increasingly coveted because they symbolize a lost opportunity for the American auto industry. 2. Dodge Ram SRT-10, 2005, the pickup that defied the laws of physics. If the Ford Lightning was a muscle truck, the 2005 Dodge Ram SRT-10 was a full-on declaration of war against the laws of physics. Dodge took the 8.3-liter V10 engine from the Dodge Viper, a beast designed for supercars, and dropped it into a pickup. The result was a machine with 500 horsepower, capable of accelerating from 0 to 100 km/h in under 5 seconds and reaching a top speed of 250 km/h. In other words, the Ram SRT-10 wasn't just the fastest truck in the world at the time. It could go head-to-head with European supercars that cost several times more. Its 6-speed manual transmission and limited-slip differential offered a brutal, almost savage driving experience that few were prepared to handle. The problem is that this same brutality was its downfall. Dodge built only about 9,000 units in total, and many were destroyed by drivers who didn't understand what they had in their hands. The combination of overwhelming power and a pickup chassis made driving it at the limit a dangerous challenge. Today, the few Ram SRT-10s that survive in original condition are absolute treasures. Their value has skyrocketed in the collector market, and it's not unusual to see them fetching prices comparable to classic supercars. The Ram SRT-10 is a reminder of a time when American brands weren't afraid to experiment. It was a vehicle that made no practical sense, but perfectly embodied the spirit of excess and rebellion that defines American car culture. 1. Toyota T100, 1995, the commercial failure that became a legend. The 1995 Toyota T100 is one of those fascinating cases where automotive history takes an unexpected turn. At the time, it was seen as a failure. Toyota's unsuccessful attempt to compete in the full-size American pickup segment. But as the years went by, that very same truck transformed into a cult classic, sought after by collectors and enthusiasts who recognize a value the 1990s market never appreciated. Toyota designed the T100 with a clear goal: to break into a segment dominated by giants like the Ford F-150, Chevrolet Silverado, and Dodge Ram. To do so, they created a truck that, in terms of quality, was on par with the very best Toyota had ever built. Its 3.4-liter V6 engine was efficient, its construction impeccable, and its reliability legendary. It could haul over 1,000 kg and tow 2,300 kilos, figures that remain respectable even today. The problem was perception. To the average American consumer, the T100 was simply too small to compete with the domestic full-size trucks. Even though in practice it offered similar capabilities, its image worked against it. In a market where size matters, the T100 was seen as inadequate. The irony is that while F-150s of that era began showing problems at around 100,000 kilometers, the T100 was just getting warmed up. Its durability was such that many owners reported surpassing 300,000 kilometers without major issues. But that legendary reliability wasn't enough to save it from poor sales. Toyota produced the T100 for only 6 years before replacing it with the larger Tundra, a model better tailored to American tastes. Today, that short production run is precisely what makes it so valuable. The few units that survive in good condition are considered rare gems, time capsules representing a unique Toyota experiment. At auctions and in collector markets, a well-preserved T100 can fetch surprising prices, far above what it cost when new. The T100 is a reminder that the market doesn't always reward the best products. Sometimes perception outweighs reality. But with time, the truth comes to light. And in this case, the truth is that the T100 was a truck ahead of its time, built with a level of quality that is almost impossible to find today. Now that you know about these 15 gold mines, I'd like to know, have you had any experience with any of these trucks? Or have you ever considered buying one? We'd love to hear your opinion, as your feedback could help many others. Although there's something that can help us all, watch the video I'm sharing, because it could save us a lot of money, time, and headaches in the future. But before you do, don't forget to subscribe and like the video, because otherwise we might not see each other again.